Here's a super quick overview on how to manipulate and work with text in Adobe Illustrator. So a couple things that we're going to need ahead of time. We've got our toolbar over here on the left-hand side, specifically the little letter T, that is our type tool or text tool. Over on the right-hand side, or possibly up on the top of your screen, you're looking for the Properties menu, specifically the Character menu. That's the one we're looking for. That's the one we're going to be hanging out with the most. And you might need your paragraph and appearance menus as well, but really Character is where it's going to be at. When it comes to Adobe Illustrator, there's different ways to create text. So I can just click my mouse anywhere on my canvas and start typing away. That works just fine. I can also, if I wanted to, excuse me, similar to Adobe InDesign, I can click, drag, draw a text box, and then I can type inside of that text box. What's nice about that is that I can go back and manipulate that text box, and the text will follow. So if I need it to be extra small, I can just kind of squeeze it and pinch it, and the text will move as I move that box. Okay. Other ways that I can go through is I can always create a specific shape. I could use the pen tool or even like the circle tool here, the ellipse. Maybe I make a perfect circle. I can type inside of that text circle here, inside of this shape. So notice my little mouse here, my cursor, has a little box around the cursor. As I slowly put it over the line, the path of my circle, it turns to a little circle. So from square, circle, I click, and now I'm typing inside my way cool circle. I can always change my font size or shape or the font family. I can just select my font, come over to my character menu, change my actual font, change the type of font that it appears, maybe change the size of my font. I can also change the height of the overall font here. So for example, if I wanted to have a gap between the spacing between the returns of my font, I can do that. Kind of push them together, just like so. Right? I can keep that going until eventually they're overlapping on each other. I can totally do that as well. Other things I can do is separate what's called the kerning, the space between the letters. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in real quick just so you can see. This one right here, it's a little VA. I can space my letters further and further apart so I can get like a cool gap going on. Or again, if I go the other direction, I can start having my letters start to push and hug and eventually overlap on each other until they start looking like a totally different language. It's pretty cool. All right, so coming back out. Now, other things that I can do with my shapes is I can have my text type on a path. So whether it's a circle or whether it is a weird shape I make with my pen tool. Let's see, make some weird goofy shape like this, right? So I have two goofy looking shapes. If I click and hold on my type tool, I get a little pop out and I have type on path. So I can go ahead and type directly on that path, and just like a train coming around the station, it will follow that path. I can do the same thing with my circle. Type on the path of the circle. And if you've ever wondered how you curl or curve your text around, this is basically how you do it. Now, there is one catch. You'll notice that as I come around the circle here, my text is now the opposite direction. It is not the correct size or correct side of the circle. I need it to be kind of on the inside. The way I adjust that is this. See this little weird line right here kind of sticking out? I can pull that around and kind of rotate, and I can flip my text on the inside. And I can adjust the beginning and the end of my text. So that gives me a lot more control. I can push that text on the inside, almost like a little happy face, looking pretty good. And again, once I've typed on path, I can still adjust the size, adjust the height, adjust the kerning. I can adjust everything. Okay? Now, what happens if I want to really manipulate the text? Let's say, for example, this W right here. We'll zoom in on him. I really want to play with him. I like the font, but I need this arm of the W to go really high up for whatever reason. Well, I can't change it in the font. However, if I right-click and do Create Outlines, that will convert this text into a shape. So now I can no longer type with it. It's no longer text. However, I can ungroup and grab just that letter W. Right now it's a single individual shape, as if I made it using the pen tool. And just like the pen tool, I'm able to use my direct selection tool, that's the white arrow. I get all these little nodes. I can grab a little anchor point, stretch, bend, squash. I can grab a couple by clicking and selecting, And let's see here. Oops. Grab a couple. And I can pull things up and adjust that out. I can really make something look pretty cool pretty quickly and almost kind of make my own font out of it, right? Some different shape family here. If I need this to be a lot skinnier, a lot kind of maybe rounded, I can play with these little teeter-totters, these Bezier curves. I have a lot more control over my individual letters, and I can manipulate them pretty much any which way I want to, right? Very, very quickly. But I have to right-click and convert to a outline. So create outlines. Now it's shape. Individually, they automatically becomes grouped. So I right-click, ungroup, and now I can grab just pieces of those. I can rotate them. I can stretch them. I can do a whole bunch of interesting stuff with my text. So now I'm able to use these techniques in creating a face, a portrait, just solely out of text. By manipulating the actual individual letters, I can rotate them and stretch them and pull them and do a whole bunch of things to create a new image using just text. If you have any questions, comments, issues, or anything like that, feel free to talk to me in class. Thanks, guys.